Om. 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 Sahana bhavatu. Sahanau bhunaktu. Saha viryam karavavai. Tejasvinavadhitamastu. Ma vidvishavahai. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam, everyone. Just to recollect where we are in the Narada Bhakti Sutras, we are almost at the end of the text. Only few more sutras are left. Last week we looked at a few sutras, which basically said that the devotee, the greatest of devotees, do not look at differences and differentiate people. The sutra which followed said the reason why they do not differentiate is because they feel everyone and everything belongs to the Lord. Then we looked at the sutra which says argumentations are not things which we should dwell on or we should waste time on. We should not depend on argumentation or anything. Vado navalambhya. So that was the verse, sutra which we looked at. So we'll continue from where we left off. बाहुल्यावकाशत्वाद् अनियतत्वाच्च. बाहुल्यावकाशत्वाद् अनियतत्वाच्च. बाहुल्यावकाशत्वाद् अनियतत्वाच्च. In terms of pronunciation, there are no aspirated consonants in this sutra, so it should be rather simple for anyone to read. Though it can be a bit of a tongue twister. We will look at the sandhi splits, the individual words in this sutra. Bahulya avakashatvad becomes bahulya avakashatvad. There are two sandhis which we have to pay attention to. The bahulya and avakashatvad, the ya and the join together to make ya, a longer ya. Bahulyavakashatvat. The last letter it undergoes a change to id. It is the first letter in the third varga or third class of consonants. It becomes the third one, a softer one, the, because it's followed by aniya. Okay, so that's another change. Aniya Tattvat, I have just split them so that you can see the individual words. Aniya Tattvacha. There are no sandhi related changes. The it at the end becomes ich because of sandhi. So that's how it becomes vacha. Instead of vatcha, it becomes vacha. So those are the changes due to sandhi and the individual words involved in this sutra. We look at the meanings. Bahulya. The bahulya word comes from the root word bahu. Bahu means many. Bahan, bahu, so it's a diversity. Bahu means many. It's proper also to be many. Diversity is a necessity of this world. Bahulya avakashatvat. So that's a necessity for diversity also. Avakashatvat means avakasham, generally we say, avakasham, we need an avakasha. That means we need option or opportunity. So there are plenty. Why there are plenty? Because there are many options available. So the options available, opportunities available for every kind of worship. People can live the way they want also. That's also an avakash. So the world is created in such a way that there is plenty of options available to everyone. So when that is so, one should not argue about any one of them. That is the meaning. Bahulyavakashatva. Because there are many options available, how can you blame someone for choosing an option or opportunity? So that's a natural consequence. So the devotee does not debate about it. Okay, Bahulyavakashatva. Next one is Aniya. Aniya generally means it cannot be contained, it cannot be restrained. It cannot be fixed. So which basically means the next word is Tattvacha. Tattva means principle or philosophy also. Tattva means this is that. Any philosophies you are describing a particular subject. That is this. That subject is this. That kind of meaning is also tattva. But supreme meaning is tat, that God is this. Creation is nothing but God. That's also tattva. But aniya tattva means it's uncertain. One cannot conclude in a very decisive way in this world because so many opportunities are there. The reality is the idea of God itself cannot be fixed. Even in science, what scientists a few years ago may find as right may turn out to be not right after all, or something slightly different. So knowledge itself continues to evolve, depending on the number of people in this world. So because of these reasons, no vada, no argumentation. Okay, so that's essence of. So it is not that you should not argue. It's not worthy of arguing because there are many options available, and nothing is conclusive. No conclusion is conclusive because truth cannot be contained in word. Okay, so we will look at what Swami has told. By way of explanation, we will understand it a little better. The Vedic religion doesn't attempt to establish through conflict and controversy any one doctrine or theory. It seeks to evaluate all theories and doctrines by the touchstone of experience. The tree is judged by its fruits. Codes of behavior, spiritual practices, and manifestations of love all have enormous virtues which promote the progress of humanity. According to the point of view of great people and of the spiritual teachers of India, one advances not from falsehood to truth, but from partly true to the fully true. Each individual Atma can be called a Garuda bird, which soars higher and higher and gathering supranatural strength at last reaches the solar orb with unlimited splendor and majesty. The basic truth of creation is unity in multiplicity. This was understood by Indians. All other religions have accepted certain fixed doctrines and built systems on them. They are content with the establishment of such creedal groups. They devise methods of worship, prayer, and adoration in accordance with the feelings and emotions they laid down as valid and valuable. The service that every religion offers to mankind is to expand consciousness of people beyond the material sphere and light the spark of divinity already in them. The Indian Bharatiya mode of worship is based on the awareness that the one manifests through many discrete forms and many discrete attributes when confronted by many discrete situations and conditions. So, among all peoples of the world, Indians have the intellectual tolerance to proclaim to all four quarters that God exists and can be found in every religion. This is their unique good fortune. One of the basic rules of living is not to be ashamed of your forefathers. As you read more and more history of the past and visualize more and more the human condition in those ages, your pride is bound to increase. Let faith in the supreme achievements of your forefathers flow in and energize the blood in your veins. Let the strength of that faith render your body, mind, and spirit equally strong. The fruit of genuine spiritual learning, Vidya, is the recognition that every community of people and every religion has, along with the basic unity, something special of its own to offer. In fact, no country in history has been target of such dire calamities and has suffered under alien rule for as long as India. Despite this, Indians are ready to encounter boldly and any new calamitous storm, for their lives are still more or less firmly based on the ancient ideals. This has been the stable foundation for their way of life. Faith in God is the faith in Atman. They believe without any hesitation that this faith has guided and guarded them. These guiding principles of Indian Bharatiya life were not restricted by the geographical boundaries of the country. Whether the people of this land desire it or not, the principles are spreading to other lands. They are transmuting their literatures by instilling their values into their thoughts and feelings. The natural sciences can provide us only with food, clothing, and the like. Only spiritual science can add strength and steadfastness to the self. Students should pay special attention to this fact. What use are food, clothing, and the like, even in plenty, when one has no strength or steadfastness in oneself? Again, when you want to promote the prosperity of the nation, you must of necessity gather into yourself all the spiritual resources that you can. In the past, the need was known and efforts were made to fulfill the need. In the future too, this need must be felt and fulfilled. That is to say, all the spiritual inclinations, beliefs, and urges that are now feeble and dissipated have to be united and reinforced, one with the others. The unique features of the Vedic Bharatiya Indian religion from its solid base. They are as wide as the sky and as eternal as nature. As part of the religion, creeds and cults may exist as branches of a tree. One need not condemn them as wrong, but no branch should fight against another to compete with another. When that happens, the tree will be destroyed and all will end in ruin. When creeds indulge in competitive rivalry, religion is ruined and the world is destroyed. Ekam Sat Vipra Bhuta Vadanti. Only one exists, the wise describe it in many ways. Each of us may have different ideas on the nature and characteristics, the form and attributes of God. One person may believe that God has the qualities and form of humans. Another may believe in a God devoid of human forms and signs, but yet manifesting in embodiments. Another may believe in God as altogether formless. Every one of these can find declarations supporting their stance in the Vedas. For all have faith in God. That is to say, in a mysterious power, Shakti, that is the source, support, and sustenance of all, a power that subsumes all. And this is accepted from Vidya Vahini, written by Swami. It's chapter 13, Unity in Diversity. Similar thoughts Swami has expressed in the Sathya Sai Vahini also. So there are many ways in which people can worship, people can live. And the Bharatiya thought, or the greatest devotees, um, accepted that, and due to that, they never indulged in any argumentation. Okay, because whatever each one thinks is also not conclusive until we all reach the supreme state of merging with the Lord. We will go to the next sutra. Bhakti Shastrani Mananiyani Tadudbodha Karmani Karaniyani. Bhakti Shastrani Mananiyani Tadudbodha Karmani Karaniyani. Bhakti Shastrani Mananiyani Tadudbodha Karmani Karaniyani. Let's look at the pronunciation of this sutra. Any letters? It starts with the letter Bha. Bha is the fourth letter in the Pa Varga or Pa class of consonant, so it has to be aspirated. Bhakti Shastrani Mananiyani, no other consonants aspirated. The next word is Tadudbodha. This Dha is aspirated because it's the fourth letter in the Ta Varga or Ta class of consonants. Tadudbodha Karmani Karaniyani, there are no other aspirated consonants. Okay, we'll look at the split of the sandhi, so in the individual words in this sutra. The first word is Bhakti Shastrani. So Bhakti is one word, Shastrani is the second one. So there are no sandhi related changes, but I've just put them, separated them with a hyphen so you can know the individual words. Bhakti Shastrani. The next word, Smaraniyani, there are no changes, it's a verb. The next word has three distinct words within that compound word. Tat and Udbodha. Tat and Udbodha becomes Tadudbodha. That is, It becomes Id. Like the one in the previous sutra also, the Ta becomes a Da. The third letter in the first letter in the Ta Varga, Ta class of component becomes the third one due to Sandhi. So that's how Tat becomes Tad and Udbodha becomes Tadudbodha. Okay, Tadudbodha. Bodha and Karmani, there are no changes due to Sandhi, but I've just separated them so you understand the individual word. Tat Udbodha Karmani. Karaniyani stands alone as it's a verb also. Oh, sorry, Karaniyani. So let's look at the meaning of the words. Bhakti Shastrani. Bhakti, all of us know, it's devotion. Shastra, Shastram means a scripture or a text, a spiritual text. or science also you can say. A scientific text also is Shastram. Shastrani is the plural. So scriptures on devotion, that's the way I've translated it. So scriptures dealing with devotion also you can say. Bhakti Shastrani. Mananiyani. Mananiyani means it's actually um, a noun, but it derives from verb. Okay. Mananiya. Manani means that which is worthy of contemplation. Mana means to think. Mananiya means that is worthy of completion, or it has to be thought of, or it has to be contemplated on. So Mananiyani means those books, Shastrani, are worthy of, texts worthy of contemplation. Manana means to recollect and repeat in our mind. Okay. Or dwell on those topics, So that is what a devotee thinks. A devotee thinks scriptural texts on devotion are to be continuously read, studied, and recollected all the time. Okay. The next one is Tat Udbodha Karmani. Tat means you can say that. Udbodha. Bodha means to teach. Okay. Udbodha means uh, raise your awareness type of thing, Raise your knowledge, raise your understanding also you can say. Ud means to always as a meaning of something which rises up. Okay. Udbodha. So this type of teachings actually inspires you also, motivates you, brings you up of a higher nature. Tadudbodha karmani. Karmani means activities, so actions. Okay, actions which have been taught or revealed by these shastras, by these scriptures. Karaniyani. Again, similar to Mananiyani. Karaniya means those are worthy of, or they should be performed. Okay, Karaniyani. So the actions which we do should be those which have been sanctioned or prescribed or instructed in the Shastras, and we should always contemplate on the Shastras. Many times we think, why are we unable to do the right thing at the right time? The reason is we have to contemplate always what is taught in the scriptures, and then we have to put them into practice. So this is what a devotee does. Devotion, one of the greatest signs of a devotee is one who continuously studies and one who always puts what is studied in action in their life. Okay, so we will see what Swami has told about it. In short, it must be realized that the Vedas are very important and that they cover the entire range of knowledge. They are the source and spring of Indian Bharatiya culture. They are the recordings of visions and divine experiences. The source is not some one definite person. They were revealed by God Himself of His own innate mercy. The Vedic inheritance has been preserved pure and unsullied even to this day, because it was handed down from master to disciple in regular succession. Since it is timeless and authorless, it is worthy of acceptance. No one can afford to neglect or deny its value. Whatever may be the diversities in contents, commentators agree that the essential teaching of all four Vedas is the same. The sections dealing with rites, modes of worship, and conclusions of inquiry help to achieve the four goals of life: dharma, artha, which is wealth, desire, kama, desire, or moksha, liberation. Since it is very hard To master the Vedas, we have developed a vast literature on traditional laws, Smriti, to expound these texts that were heard and passed down orally, Shruti texts, the epics and historical legends, Puranas and Itihasas. Far-sighted seers compose these out of historical and legendary incidents and events. Activity, karma, and spiritual wisdom, jnana, are related as cause and effect. So, the sections of the texts and laws that emphasized activity led to the discovery of new facets of truth and rendered ideas of a transcendent God clearer and nearer. So too, the discovery of clearer concepts of God through spiritual inquiry along the path of wisdom fed activity with better meaning and higher purpose. The benefit of activity was proportionate to the faith, and the faith in activity was proportionate to the awareness of God won through wisdom. For involving oneself in good activities, spiritual wisdom is an essential prerequisite. That wisdom has ultimately to be derived from the Vedas. It is based on the teachings of the Vedas. Since it is very hard to master the Vedas, I think I have repeated this. Anyway, it's okay. Swami means that we should read it again. Since it's very hard to master the Vedas, we have developed a vast literature on traditional laws, Smriti, to expound these texts that were heard and passed down orally, Shruti texts, the epics and historical legends, Puranas and Itihasas. Far-sighted seers compose these out of historical and legendary incidents and events. Activity, karma, and spiritual wisdom, jnana, are related as cause and effect. So, the sections of the texts and laws that emphasize activity led to the discovery of new facets of truth and rendered the ideas of a transcendental God clearer and nearer. So too, the discovery of clearer concepts of God through spiritual inquiry along the path of wisdom fed activity with better meaning and higher purpose. The benefit of activity was proportionate to the faith, and the faith in the activity was proportionate to the awareness of God, won through wisdom. For involving oneself in good activities, spiritual wisdom is an essential prerequisite. The wisdom has ultimately to be derived from the Vedas. It is based on the teachings of the Vedas. Activity, karma, is really speaking the practice of dharma. The Upanishads give us guidance on what has to be done and what has to be avoided on the spiritual journey. They direct us to revere the mother as God, revere the father as God, revere the preceptor as God, and revere the guest as God. They also warn us that truth and dharma should not be neglected. So there are both positive and negative instructions. Follow these counsels and not others. Whatever conduces to your progress in goodness, accept. Avoid other counsels. Thus do the Upanishads instruct. In these centuries, the king himself studied in hermitages at the feet of Upanishadic sages and helped others to study by granting economic aid profusely to the centers of learning that shone as repositories of Vedic lore. As the king, so the subjects. Fostering the Vedas meant fostering the Vedic scholars and practitioners. At the present time, encouragement is afforded and scholarship is honored in other branches of learning. Vedic scholars are not given similar encouragement and emoluments. This important aspect has to be attended to. Dharma protects those who protect it. Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha, says the scripture. If people come forward to foster the sources of dharma, That good act by itself will help foster those who do it. The study of Vedas has become today the task of the economically weak. People have reconciled themselves to this situation. They associate that study with such a sad and pitiable picture. Vedic studies have come down to this deplorable pass. The very Pandits who have attained scholarship in the Vedas are using it as a commercial item that can be sold. They do not demonstrate the value of Vedic study in the peace and harmony of their lives, and thus win reverence for the Vedas by personal example. The Vedas are being misused by them for earning a pittance rather than for liberation and peace. This is why Dharma is receiving a setback, and anxiety and fear are spreading among people. The world can win back peace and harmony only when such people are persuaded to practice the ideals laid down in the Vedas and thereby serve as beacon lights to guide mankind aright. Otherwise, downfall is inevitable. The Indian Bharatiya spiritual stream has, until the present times, fertilized Vedic learning and practice. Its message has always been journey forward along the Vedic path. One may dilate on Vedanta and Vedas, but unless one holds forth the value of these ideals on the basis of one's own experience and practice, it is a waste. This truth has been forgotten by these people. Let them awake in time and save the traditions and values of the ageless Vedic culture. This excerpt is from chapter 11 of Sathya Sai Vahini. So I guess we'll be studying them in detail when we get there during our study of the Sathya Sai Vahini. But Swami is nicely explaining how the Shastras teach us what needs to be done. So that's why Bhakti Shastrani Mananiyani Tadadbodha Karmani Karaniyani. So the devotee always does this. He always studies and he always puts into practice what he has studied, what he or she has studied. I can't but help Tirukural, it says Katka Kasadara Katka Katravai Katravin Nitka that Kata. That's what it is. You study and contemplate and then put that into practice. Live a life according to that. So we'll look at the next sutra. Sukha dukhe cha labhadi tyakte kale pratikshyamane kshanardhamapi vyartham na neya. Sukha dukhe cha labhadi tyakte kale pratikshyamane kshanardhamapi vyartham na neya. Sukha dukhe cha labhadi tyakte kale pratikshyamane kshanardhamapi vyartham na neya. So let's look at the pronunciation initially. Sukha. The K is the second letter in the K varga, so it has to be a K class of consonant, so it has to be aspirated. Sukha. The next one, Dukhe. Same K has now become K, so that also has to be aspirated. Sukha Dukhe Icha. This Cha is also aspirated because that's the second letter in the Cha varga. Cha class of consonant. So it's cha. Icha. Okay. The next one is labha. So the bha is again aspirated because the fourth letter in the pa varga, pa class of consonants. Sukha dukhe cha labha. Okay, so it's lots of aspirated consonants. Adityakte, kale, no change. Patikshamane, ksha is again a cerebral sh, so tongue has to point upward. Ksha, pratikshamane, mane, kshana, this ksha is also same. Cerebral sh is there next to ka. Ksha, kshanardha. The dha is also aspirated because the fourth letter in the ta varga, ta class of consonants. Kshanardha mapi. Vyartham. The tha in the vyartha is also an aspirated consonant because it's the second letter in the tha varga. Vyartha, it has to be aspirated. Naneya. So there are lots of aspirated consonants in this sutra. So pay attention to them. Now let's split each individual words. There's some sandhi related changes, some there are no. So we'll take a look at that. Sukha and dukkha. Sukha and dukkha, they are two different words. Dukkha and icha, in the kha and e becomes k. K, okay. Dukkhe, icha, labha. Icha, labha, there are no changes due to sandhi. Labha and adi, there's a small change. Bha and a become the bha. Labhadi. Okay, so that's a change. Tyakte, no change. Kale, pratikshamane, no change. Kshana, ardham. Oh, I see. I think I put the wrong one. Made a mistake. Sorry. I'll just change. I think I should change. Okay, sorry. You have to correct it. I will upload it again. Kshana ardham becomes kshanardham. Kshana, na plus a becomes na. Kshanardham. Okay. And a becomes ma. Okay. Mapi. Kshanardham api. The three words are kshana, ardham, and api. Vyartham, nanayam, no changes due to sandhi. So let's look at the individual word meanings and this meaning of the sutra. Sukha means pleasure, happiness also you can say. Dukkha, sorrow or pain. Okay. Pleasure and pain, sukha, dukkha. Icha, icha means a desire, a wish. Icha. Labha means profit, gain. Sukha, dukkha, icha, labha. Adi means etc. In Tamil, we'll say mudaliyana, mudalaya, type of meaning. So that means these four and etc. Tyakte. Tyakte means to give up. In giving up, sukha, dukkha, icha, labha, etc. Okay. So that should be something which a devotee does. A devotee is not focused on sukha, dukkha, icha, labha. Okay, he's just given up, renounced all of that. Kale, in time. So as time progresses, when he spends the time during his life, while he lives, or he or she lives, they give up all this. They renounce them. Pratikshyamani. Pratiksha, the root word is iksh. Iksh means to see, also to desire and wait for something. So pratikshyamani means they will not be waiting for something to happen. They will not wait to see something to happen. So I've used the word hanker. That means you are longing for something, pining for something. So the devotee never pines for anything of this world. Because whenever there is desire or gain, people are always pining or longing for a gain, profit. People are waiting for a desire to be fulfilled. They are waiting for some pleasurable time to appear. Or they are also waiting for something bad to go away. So a devotee does not dwell on this. Okay. Pratikshamani. Next one is Kshana Ardham. Okay, here also I'll have to correct. Sorry. Okay. Kshana Ardham Api. Kshana means a moment, a quick time, a time, a second also you can say, a moment. Ardham. Ardham means half. Okay, half. Kshana Ardham means a part of uh, moment also is Kshanardham. Api means even. Okay, even a half moment. Actually, I should not put not here because that doesn't change. Even a half a moment. Vyartham. Vyartham means something which is waste, uh, useless. Naneyam. Naneyam means not should not be spent. Neyam means should be spent. Naneyam means should not be spent. So that means even half a moment should not be spent in pining and longing for sukha, dukkha, ichha, labha. If even a half a moment we spend, we are not devotees. A devotee should not spend even half a moment on any of this. Means half a second. That's what it means. So that's what this sutra tells. See, sometimes we want to aspire, we want to call ourselves devotees. So these are all qualifications, qualities of a devotee. So Narada is telling, don't spend even half a moment on any of this. Okay, so that's the instruction by Sage Narada for all of us who want to cultivate devotion. We'll look at an excerpt of Swami's discourse. Childhood passes in trivial play with other children. Youth passes in amorous sport. Middle age absorbs time and effort in amassing wealth. Come old age, I think, sorry, this is wrong. Come old age, time crawls in futile longing for worldly desires. Yet there is no time for contemplation of God. Thus is wasted the precious heritage of human birth, deeply entangled in the net of karma. Why waste your time in idleness? Time wasted is life wasted. Arise awake, it is not too late. Think of the future at least now. Embodiments of love, dear students. If you spend your time thus, if you fritter away your time and energy in vain pursuits, thus, what for is your human birth? What will happen to you in future? Did you ever ponder over this? Time is the measure for human life. Time is the most precious aspect in human life. Don't waste time. Time wasted is life wasted. You have to seriously question yourself whether it is sensible to waste your time thus. If you waste your precious time in this young age, when will you be able to sanctify your life? Man has to perform karma in this karma bhumi, field of activity, right from birth to death. In fact, the human birth has been given was to perform karma. Therefore, we are engaged in performing various karmas continuously. But very few make any effort to ask themselves whether the karmas performed are sat karmas, good deeds or not. One has to strive to sanctify one's time right from childhood. We partake of a variety of items as food to sustain the human body, but none is making an inquiry whether the food one partakes of is proper and healthy, whether it is beneficial for nourishing and nurturing one's physical, mental, and spiritual health. Man is born out of karma, grows and departs from the world due to karma. Karma is verily the embodiment of divinity. It is only due to karma that happiness and sorrow occur in the world. The Bhagavad Gita exhorts that man has a right only to perform his duty and none to the fruit thereof. Of course, there will be a result for every karma that is performed by a human being. There will be a good result for a good karma and a bad result for a bad karma. This is the eternal law. When you partake of a mango fruit, you will only have the belch of that fruit and not that of a lime fruit. In the same manner, your head thoughts will always be conditioned by the type of food you consume. As the food, so is the head thoughts. As the head, so is God. Thus, the food, the head, and God will be on the same wavelength. Hence, one has to cultivate good and noble thoughts always. If you eat sattvic, pure, serene food and cultivate sattvic nature right from childhood, your entire life will run smoothly. Hence, one has to be wary of one's food and the head thoughts. If you wish to sanctify your human birth, you should not live like a bird, beast, or an animal. Having taken birth as a human being, one has to perform karmas worthy of a human being. One has to conduct oneself as a human being. What does the term human values imply? Satya, truth, dharma, righteousness, shanti, peace, prema, love, and ahimsa, non-violence. It is only when we cultivate and exhibit these 5 human values in our daily lives that we will be entitled to be called human beings. Human being is a repository of 3 gunas, namely sattva, calm serenity, rajas, passionate activity, and tamoguna, sloth and slumber. Unfortunately, today we find the rajo and tamo gunas more active in human beings. We do not find even a trace of sattva guna anywhere. Hence, it is our utmost important duty today. It's of utmost importance today that people are taught and encouraged to cultivate sattva guna, perform sattvic karmas, and finally reach the abode of sattvic guna. So Swami in this excerpt has talked about not wasting time on unnecessary worldly pursuits, but cultivate human values. That's what Swami says. So kshanardham api na vyartam na neya. Not even a half a moment should be wasted. Is the sutra which talks, and we waste this and a few things like sukha, dukkha, icha, labha, adi. So the time is always spent on worldly pursuits, which in the spiritual context is vyartha or wrong, wasted. So what are we supposed to do? We have to study bhakti shastrani, mananiyani, tadudbodha karmani, karaniyani. That's what the previous sutra says. So in these sutras, Narada is telling how we should live a life, what type of activities we should be engaged in, and how do we correct them through the study of Bhakti Shastras. So that's what these sutras say. These are instructions or ideals which every devotee has to follow. This is what I have prepared for today, so I will stop here. Sairam, Sister Aruna, please.
Just a question. I know I am just little confused. Before the 77 Sutra, can you go to that page, please? Why Vedanta? What is the difference between the Vedanta and Vedas? Here, one may tell it on Vedanta and Vedas.
So, okay, Vedas generally are considered all four, including the Vedanta. Vedas generally are Samhitas or mantra portion of the Vedas. Then they have Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and then Upanishads. All these four constitute are called Vedas. The mantras are just worship of the Lord. Brahmanas tell what sort of rituals and how these to put them into worship mode. What rules have to be followed. These are explained in the Brahmanas. And then there are Aranyakas. Aranyakas are people who renounce or go away from the world after leading an active life. They study and prepare themselves for the final stage of sannyasa. So all the texts which are worthy of study for a person by a person who wants to take up sannyasa is Aranyakas. And then comes the Upanishads. That's considered the Vedanta. That means the end of the Vedas, the final conclusions of the Vedas. Those also have to be studied. It's not that they have to be studied only when one becomes a sannyasi.
I'll make it in the cream.
They are also studied by students of Vedas. So that's why Swami, because there's no point, Vedas generally focus on karma. Vedanta focuses on the ultimate wisdom, knowledge, jnana. So Vedas, in this word, my understanding is Swami is talking about jnana and karma.
Okay.
Okay, so, but jnana is not something which you study only at the end. Jnana has to be studied even to perform the karma. That's why Bhakti Shastrani Mananiyani Tadudbodha Karmani Karaniyani. So Bhakti Shastrani Karmani is Vedanta, essence. Karaniyani is action. So Vedanta and Vedas, I think Swami has put in that order. So that's my understanding. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, brother. Thank you.
Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam, everyone.